Hi everybody, welcome back to Equipment World. I'm your host Brian, and it is the season for some equipment updates. And here to talk with us today is Link-Belt to speak with us about their new X4S Ecosystem coming to their excavator lineup. Today joining us is Tyler Garrity. So my first question for you is kind of outside of this X4S ecosystem. The industry tends to relate Link-Belt to another manufacturer in the industry. You guys pretty tied pretty close in people's minds. Do you mind explaining how Link-Belt is different and kind of how you guys have changed through the era?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great question to start off. It's something that, throughout my travels, I've got an opportunity to travel quite a bit throughout North America this year. And I do hear that a lot, that we tend to be closely related to another manufacturer. I think it's kind of important to just start kind of talking about Link-Belt and how everything began, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So our Con Expo slogan this year is "Here by Hard Work." So Link-Belt's been chipping away for 151 years of innovation. And, our main focus is building and providing a premium product to our end users. So kind of circling back to being closely related to another manufacturer, we actually are, believe it or not, in 2010, we were wholly purchased by Sumitomo.
Okay.
So Link-Belt is owned by Sumitomo Construction Machinery out of Japan, and we are actually the only manufacturer that they own when it comes to building excavators. So Sumitomo also builds and has contracts for other OEMs in order to build their machines, and they have done that throughout the years. But there's only one manufacturer here in North America that's actually owned by Sumitomo, and that would be Link-Belt Excavators.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that makes sense. And for everyone that's really familiar with those other competitors, the name Sumitomo is really what everyone kind of ties. That's the knot that ties everything together. So interesting, and I appreciate the background on that. Kind of getting into our main topic of discussion here, the X4S ecosystem. What is it, and what should people be excited about?
Yeah, so X4S is kind of our newest, latest, greatest machine line when it comes to excavators. The X4 line was actually released in 2014. So what we did with the X4S is we basically just built upon what was already a very well-established machine in the marketplace. So we carried over with our X4S, we carried over our industry-leading 5-year, 5,000-hour full machine warranty. Also our Isuzu engine platform, for the most part, that does not require a diesel particulate filter. We've added some technology to the machine. We've changed the graphics around a little bit just to make it look a little bit more modern, and also tweaked, adding like a heavy duty boom, for example. So a few different changes here and there, completely redeveloped the cab actually to fit more the North American standards. So quite a few changes to the X4S machine, and we've had a lot of success. Now the entire footprint has been released. We released the 370 X4S that was back in November of 2024. And then here recently, we just actually launched our 145, so our reduced tail swing 145 X4S. We reduced it at a show here in Louisville called the Utility Expo. I
tell you what, that 145 class, that's one of my favorite classes of machine. You've got a lot of power there, but in a small footprint that you can get in just about anywhere you need to.
Yeah, I would say overall, that's probably our top selling machine. I would have to relook at a breakdown to see if maybe that 220 size class or, even the 350s and 490 size machines are starting to creep up with a lot of these big projects. But our 145 historically has been our number one selling machine, and we're happy now that we can provide our X4S platform to users of that machine.
So technology has become such a huge front and center topic of discussions when it comes to manufacturers updating their equipment. What are some of the features and options available on the X4S platform? Yeah,
for sure. So what I'll do is I'll break down kind of every single X4S that you're going to see. So one thing that we've standardized across the board is called our precision grade technology. So what precision grade is, so we know that operators are going to use, whether it be a Trimble system, a Topcon system, a Leica system. We don't necessarily want to kind of hold down what a contractor or end user is going to use when it comes to their grade control solution. So we've actually provided brackets, some wiring ran inside the cab. And then if you decide to go 3D, there's brackets on the back of the counterweight that have already been installed. And those brackets allow you to bolt on any system, whether it be Trimble, Topcon, or Leica, however you decide you want to go, whatever your flavor is, so to speak. So that's kind of technology that you're going to see across the board. Now, with our 220 size machine and also our 370 machine, we've added a fleet of technology called our advanced features. So that's going to include a payload system. So it's going to measure the bucket volume, whether you're loading trucks, it prevents overloading. We have a height and depth alarm. So that height and depth alarm is going to notify you at a known height or notify you at a known depth, just to keep you within a certain range. We also have our dynamic stability assist. So what dynamic stability assist does, it's essentially a large cushion that just kind of stabilizes the machine during dumping operation. Let's say you get in a situation where the machine starts to get a little bit tippy. You can actually go into the monitor and you can scale that. Either you can turn it completely off if you don't want any type of cushion at all, or you can actually ramp that up and try to get as much stability assist as you possibly need. We also have a digital level that measures roll and pitch directly on the monitor for you.
That's super helpful.
Those specific things, the 4 that I just mentioned there, they're only available on our 220 size machine and our 370. Now, also our 145 is going to be optional, so you're going to be able to add some of that technology to that specific machine as well, which you'll see coming up at ConExpo.
So speaking specifically to that stability assist, one of the things I do really appreciate, as much as the industry loves to sit here and go, quit putting all these unnecessary features on the machines, everyone's starting to recognize this giant labor shortage that we're coming across, and you're not getting all of these super experienced operators in the seats. And so I do really appreciate that as manufacturers, you guys are starting to build in a lot of these safeguards where we can throw some of these inexperienced operators in the cab, and we don't have to worry about them rolling a machine off a hill or tipping into a truck or something. You've got some of these safety nets. But then I also love the fact that you guys have the option that if you do get an experienced operator in the seat, and we do want to kind of, there's situations where I want to reach out there and I know the machine's going to tip a little bit and I'm anticipating that. The fact that I can turn that feature off, I think that is a phenomenal feature for the machine.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's one of those where, like you said, if you're newer and you don't necessarily want that oh no factor, when the machine starts to tip, you can actually go in, you can ramp that up, or experienced operator like yourself, you can completely turn it off.
So can you talk a little bit about the power plant changes? I know you guys have switched engines in some of your units. Can you talk a bit about that and why it happened?
Absolutely. So we introduced with our 170 and our 190, we actually, for the first time, introduced a Yanmar engine. So we added that Yanmar platform to those 2 specific machines. Now, the good part is we do still have, and Yanmar still builds a fantastic engine. We do have the Isuzu engine on the rest of the machines that does not require a diesel particulate filter.
Nice.
Now, one thing I will just kind of go out and say, we've always done a lot of marketing when it comes to the diesel particulate filter as a selling piece. Honestly, no one really wants to mess with them when it comes to a diesel particulate filter. If something
Absolutely.
were to go down, go bad. Now, the Yanmar does require a diesel particulate filter. However, it does have a very high life cycle, so to speak, for that filter. But it does fit within our 5-year, 5,000-hour full machine warranty.
So can you talk a bit about the cab improvements? I know that's something, as a very cushy princess operator, that's something out of the newer generation of machines I've really come to appreciate is you guys have really started to up the game when it comes to the cab. Can you talk a bit about your cab improvements?
For sure. We certainly have. And I think that if you put one of our X4 machines right next to one of our X4S machines, and we've done this, and you have somebody that hops up in our new machine, the first thing that they're going to notice is our brand new monitor. So we have a 10-inch monitor that's in the machine. Also, we've repositioned. If you've sat in one of our machines before, you know that there's been some buttons. There usually is buttons underneath like your armrest when you're inside the cab.
Yeah.
We've actually eliminated all of those buttons and added them in different parts of the column directly in front of you. Perfect. That way, you're talking about operators being newer. It just allows line of sight and safety to basically be directly in front of you, or maybe just a hair to the right. Plus, it's kind of annoying at times when you have to lift up your arm.
And I'm going to be honest with you. Running those Sumitomo machines, there have been so many times where I have been looking for a button and it doesn't occur to me right off the bat to pick up the armrest and look under the armrest. And so I'll waste, a good 30 seconds looking for this button. And then I finally go, oh, there it is. Yep. So I love that.
Yep. So everything's been repositioned. So a lot of that, like AC controls, for example, have been repositioned to the bottom of the monitor. We've introduced a few new work modes. We now have a dedicated lift mode and also a dedicated eco mode. The eco mode just basically throttles RPM back and forth. So for example, if you're loading a truck, when you're making a pass and you actually need the RPM and you need basically just the engine to be doing its work, going up to the truck, dumping, and then coming back to the hole, for example, all of those RPMs are going to ramp itself back down. So it just is an eco mode to help you save some fuel. So with the new monitor, the new work modes that we have, and just the bigger interior, I believe the number is 9% bigger is the overall cab space compared to what was the X4.
Wow.
It was already a very, spacious cab to start with. So yeah, we're very happy with the improvements that have been made to the cab. We're getting a lot of really good feedback from operators out in the field about that specifically.
Excellent. So my final question for you is this something, the X4S package or ecosystem, if you will, is that coming to the full excavator lineup, or is it only hitting certain models? What all is included?
It's coming to the full excavator lineup as of now. That's where it stands right now. So everything from essentially our 145 size all the way through our 370 size has the current X4S lineup as of right now. Obviously, internally, we're looking at revamping and redeveloping the rest of our lineup to fit that mold eventually. We'll kind of see where that takes us, but that's where it stands right now. We also have our lineup of heavy duty machines. So we do build a high wide heavy duty machine that's actually running under our X4 platform that a lot of people don't know about. Then obviously our forestry machines and also our material handling machines, those still, as of right now, run either our B series forestry platform or our X4 platform currently.
Well, Tyler, thank you again for taking the time to chat with us about the X4S system and Link-Belt overall. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you again for Tyler coming on the show to speak to us about the new X4S ecosystem and all of the improvements coming to the Link-Belt Excavator lineup. Make sure you check out their booth at ConExpo. You guys have a great one, and we'll catch you next time.